Hey, what's up, guys? So, back at the shop, and it's actually a Monday. We had planned to get some work done on this particular vehicle over the weekend, but as you guys may have already seen, we went to go check out some more old gold Impalas out on the farm. So, if you haven't already checked that video out, some cool cars there. But anyway, so we're trying to now play catch up and get back to the process of trying to swap this subframe slash engine cradle. And you guys may have recalled we were waiting for a bolt that was a bit longer than this so that we could attach the other part of this hook for the engine traverse bar to support it while we remove the subframe. So finally got a bolt. It's a long story, but that's not the bolt I ordered. I ended up ordering bolts, getting bolts, and they were the wrong bolts. Let's just say it like that. So after fishing around on the car, I finally found a spot where I could rob a bolt, and it happened to be correct. So I don't know if you ever could be in a similar situation, so I'll show you. It's one of those bolts there. You see the spot there where there's a missing bolt from that bracket that goes onto the subframe. I just snagged that bolt and used it. So hopefully it's strong enough. We will see. There's a lot of weight on it, or there will be a lot of weight on it with the weight of half of the engine and the transmission on this side. So yeah, we'll see. We'll just try to be quick about what we're doing. I had to do a few things to get in here without creating any potential issues with the wiring, so I had to unplug a couple of things. I think I unplugged the EGR, the oxygen sensor, removed the connectors to all the coil packs, and backed those off so I could shove this harness out the way a little bit, because you can't see it now, but this harness was getting kind of pinched by this guy. I ended up having to turn the hook a different way and a couple other things too, but I think it's now in a good space to where we won't cause any damage, even if, the engine moves, just a slight bit or whatnot. So, okay, so that's the one thing that had us held up, was getting that traverse bar set up. It's in place now. Man, I apologize in advance too for the lighting, because in this area of the shop it's just really dark. I just ordered a couple of more overhead lights for myself to get installed here to fix that issue in this portion of the shop, but they won't arrive for a day or so, and I don't know when I'm gonna have time to install them. But anyway, just trying to take care of those things as they come up. I normally don't work in this portion of the shop, but that's neither here nor there. So let's get back to the real work. I'm going to now take a look underneath the car and start to formulate my game plan on what exactly I need to remove. While we're down here, I might as well take the opportunity to show you guys some more of the reason why we're actually doing this work, right? You may remember this bad boy was in an accident. You see right there, massive cracking and separation of the subframe. That entire weld failed, and that allowed the subframe to kind of separate a bit there. And we got same thing here on this other side, massive cracking. I mean, I don't even know how that happens. It must be a crappy weld, or it was just a hell of an impact. But yeah, so I don't know. Looking at the weld, it looks pretty porous and not so good. So, I don't know if that's what really influenced it. But again, there is also a significant crack in another spot. Let's see if we can get to it and identify it. Yeah, so right here. You don't really see it good from this side, but it's cracked all along the top and to the other end. So it is my gut feeling that this thing being as whooped as it is, all cracked up, so you can see a bit more of it cracked up pretty bad there. terribly cracked up here. Let's go on the back side. Oh my gosh, yeah. Just look at that gap, right? The thing is, where's my finger at? There we go. That's what I'm trying to show you guys. Look at how separated that is. You know, you can see the air gap there. So, you know, that's obviously not good. And I believe that this is the issue. So we're gonna do our best to get this subframe. Let me get from underneath the car. Creeper seems to be rolling okay today. But yeah, so yeah, guys. So we're gonna try to get this bad boy swapped out. So you see the main issues and the reasons why, right? You don't want to drive around with the subframe all busted up like that. And, you know, something else could be bent too. We bought a few extra parts, so we're going to do our best to try to tackle whatever the issue could be. But I believe, as you can tell, that obviously, if nothing else, that subframe surely needs to be replaced. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start with that, cross our fingers and toes, and hope that that gets us back into the ballpark in terms of our wheel, our passenger front wheel being centered in the wheel well. Right now, it's at least an inch or more towards the body of the car, which it shouldn't be that way, right? And although you can still kind of lot drive it, if you lock the wheel hard, it's gonna rub, you know? So we don't want any of that. We want to be able to get this car back on the road. So the idea is to correct whatever's broken. We've already replaced the upper control arm, thinking that may have been bent. That did absolutely nothing for us other than give us some experience tearing the suspension apart. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna put you guys on pause, and I'm gonna spend a little more time looking at everything to try to get my best plan of attack. Because in some, you know, I've been doing a little bit of research, and I saw where the one video that I could find, you know, because these cars are kind of rare, the guy, he basically tore the whole suspension and everything off on both sides. Now, I think that may have been because in his case, he had some bent components, because when I'm looking at it, it doesn't look like I need to tear all this suspension off for what I'm doing, right? As you guys can see, the subframe, you know, the only main thing, you guys didn't really see it, but the main thing that was in the way, blocking it from being lowered down, was that exhaust. And I took that out of the way. So we'll see. You know, like I said, this is my first time doing one on this particular type of car. So I'm gonna keep pushing on it, see how far we get, and I'll bring you guys along for the ride. And once we start to make progress, and if we run into any kind of issues, I'll show you guys. So that's it, man. Let's let me try to get up off the ground here. I'm getting old. All right, I'm up. Okay, so put you guys on pause now, and I'll come back to you in a few when we get some stuff accomplished to get this part swapped in. A lot of things connect to it, so there's still a lot of things to come apart. It looks like light work, but it is quite a bit of work. Like I was saying, I think in previous video, we got the sway bar that bolts to it. We have the power steering rack. We have engine mounts, transmission mounts, and a whole assortment of other things. Like for example, this is the exhaust mounts there, etc. So we'll see what we can do, man. At the end of the day, it's nuts and bolts. It's just a car. This is not something too overly complicated that your average novice or, you know, weekend warrior mechanic can't do. So with that said, we will get it done. Hang tight, and let's see where it goes from here, guys. Be back in a few. All right, guys, so small update. I've been working at it here and there as time permits, and got a bunch of stuff unbolted. As you can see, you know, suspension components loose where they need to be. The sway bar is loose and just resting here. I basically replicated that work on both sides. I opted not to tear out the entire suspension, as it doesn't warrant it, doesn't need to come out. You know, it can, oh, sorry there. Yeah, so it doesn't need to come out, okay? So we're about simplicity around here. If something doesn't need to come apart, we're not going to take it apart. So repeated that process on both sides. A little bit, you can see there, you know, control arms loose, yada yada yada. Same with the sway bar. And where we left off, I was working up top here trying to access some of the engine mount bolts. It's kind of tough to see. Yeah, tough to see. Tough to access and tough to see. I can't really show you guys good right this second, but I'll show you maybe tomorrow before I actually. Hey guys, I had a good stopping point for the day. Just wanted to take the time to show you guys that I did make some decent progress. I was able to get a lot of things disassembled, as you can see by the nuts and bolts and pieces on the ground. You see some suspension components have been removed. Sway bar is loose and just flopping in there. Steering gear is starting to come loose. It's not easy, man. It's tight quarters in there. And I got a few other bolts I got to get loose on the other side. So hopefully everything goes smoothly there. I got to figure out what's happening with the steering gear, because the way it's assembled, it kind of looks like it wants to come down with the entire cradle. If you look at the new cradle that's going in, this groove right here, that's where the steering gear sits, and it's bolted in a few different locations, etc. So I'm doing my best to get the bolts out, but I don't know. I have to take a better look to see if it's supported by anything else, because it's, you know, it's kind of heavy. I don't want to try to leave that dangling. So potential that I'm going to need to take the tie rods loose off of the steering knuckle and drop that entire steering gear with the cradle. Not that big a deal, because from everything I can tell so far, it's electronic or electric power steering EPS. So as long as I can get to the connector to unplug it, it shouldn't be that bad a deal. So you can see suspension's been taken apart here too. But yeah, you can kind of look in there and see there's still some fasteners that are holding that steering gear to the cradle. And you see it's kind of really tight quarters. What I'm most worried about is there's an engine mount in the back there. I can't really show you guys easily from up top, but there's an engine mount that bolts to the cradle up here. These two holes are what it mounts to, and there's a plate that goes over top of the gear, and it kind of bolts down onto that. So that's going to be a beast to try to get that loose. Right now, the front engine mount, it bolts to these 4 holes, and I have to access those from the top. And as you can see, it's cluttered. It's very tight quarters. So I'm using a long extension, and I'm able to so far get 2 of the bolts loose. I got to boogie out of here, so I can't continue to see if I can get all of them, but tomorrow's another day. But man, work has been kind of hectic. It's the end of the year now. We're trying to wrap up a lot of things. So with that said, I don't know what my day is going to look like tomorrow and how much work I'll be able to accomplish, but you guys know how we do it here at Motor City Customs. I'm going to give it my best shot and try to get the subframe out of the car by tomorrow, if time permits. Worst case, I may end up having to work a little bit later to get that accomplished, because I really want to get to that point. I need this new cradle in there ASAP, and to start putting things back together. So you guys, you know, I'm taking a lot of stuff apart, nuts and bolts everywhere, and the longer you leave that stuff loose, you start to forget what goes where, and I don't want to put it back together and have a bunch of extra nuts and bolts, like, oh, spare parts, throw them in the toolbox. No, we try to do things right around here, put everything back where it came from. And I made one small mistake. Normally I take a bunch of pictures before I take apart something that I hadn't worked on before, but just the nature of how things been going on this project, I failed to do that today. And I'm jumping back and forth, and even though I left the office already, I still had to take a unexpected meeting from the shop, and I got distracted. Let me just say it like that. The rain has now started too, so although the area had been drying out, I got drops in the bucket now, so hopefully this area continues to stay dry enough for us to get the work done. And last but not least, my issue is the temperature is dropping drastically. And as you guys can see, I'm working right next door to the bay doors. And man, that cold air still gets through there. You know, so damn, I'm trying to hurry up and get it done so I don't have to be in here freezing to death. But anyway, guys, that's it. I just wanted to give you that update so that you see that the progress continues. For whatever reason, this project is not like a favorite on the channel. We're not getting a whole lot of action here with this particular car, but I'm documenting it nonetheless. It's a fairly rare car, and at some point in the future, this may help somebody down the road. And maybe, you know, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to document it. So if you like the content, give it a thumbs up. Clearly, if it's something you're not into, you're not even watching it, you know. If you are new here, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification so you don't miss any updates. And just stay tuned, man. We're working on a bunch of things. The sooner I get this in, the sooner I can jump over back to the 63 to try to get this hood alignment and stuff situated. Sadly, I'm going to pull that hood back off and work with it a little bit more. But anyway, that's enough about that for now. That's it right now for the Acura RLX project. Making forward progress, but still a lot of hard work and heavy lifting to do. So stay tuned, guys, and let's see what we can make happen with this car. We're getting it roadworthy again. Appreciate you all. Shawnee C out of here. Peace.